Hey, and lock it on the way out. Yes, I. And good morning, y'all. Not Clay Edwards, but Clay is out on assignment, and I am here this morning. I am Chip Matthews, host of the Chip Matthews Show, running for Mayor Canton, and it's dark outside. Yes, it is. So, with the help of Coca-Cola and all of y'all out there, maybe we can get something done today. If you got something on your mind, give me a call, 601-879-0002. It's going to be a lot of fun today. It's I'm going to talk. I want to talk about these legislators we have. I'm sure some of them will get to listen to me this morning as they're driving in, and I want them to think about all the things that they need to be doing at the legislature. Okay, they're sitting there and they're in a bad situation because the Medicaid expansion plan. You don't know what's going to be out there to get. You know, Medicaid expansion into Mississippi. They wanted, you've got the Rhino part of our legislation, which is a big contingency. The conservatives are outnumbered, and then we have the Democrats. And understand that is the way you should look at our current legislative session as how it is. And Delbert's sitting there. You can't ask for Medicaid expansion right now because in the event you do it, the government may not fund it. And this is exactly why we don't need it, because you never know when the government is going to decide to not fund it. And when you promise it to somebody as a legislator, then somebody's going to be looking at you to make sure we have it. Okay. And we don't have money right now. No, we don't. And we got a call yesterday from the feds. What? We'd like our $101 million back that you lost in the welfare fraud scandal. And and then you'll always hear in the story, Brett Favre. Well, all I'm noticing the Brett Favre part of that is about $6 million at the most that went to the building, and $1 million to him for which he paid back. So that's not it. $6 million to build a building that we still have the building. So all we got to do is pay for the building. And then that should be dealt with, because it wasn't for something that we would use on the campus at Southern Mississippi. Okay. But in reality, where you got to find the other 94, $95 million. And you got to pay it back to the federal government. If you don't, they may come down here and doge y'all just on that. And who all will they get? A lot of names connected to that fraud. Who will they get? They will get all kind of people. And that is what we're looking at here, is we keep putting corrupt people into office. Yes, corrupt people into office. We're not going to talk about it any other way. We're not getting more people involved in politics. We don't go out and try to recruit people to run for office. We just get more crooks in running for office. It's like I'm running in Canton. I was in a debate yesterday, or rather, we answered questions, myself and two others that are running for office. Two others that were running did not show up, but they can't show up because they'd have been in bad shape. One was a school teacher and got in trouble for choking a child. And another one was a school teacher that changed all the grades for the kids to pass and for Canton to get a better grade to keep from being taken over by the state. Now, we all know the state isn't going to take over Canton because they don't want it. They don't want to help Canton. They don't care about Canton. They don't, nothing. Nothing that goes on in Canton, Mississippi happens. That's why all those new businesses are being built at the Canton exit, but they will never call it Canton. They call it Madison County, where they can use the Madison County School District. And that is just like, and they leave Canton to be the Democratic hellhole of central Mississippi, along with Jackson. And then they're slowly coming down Ridgeland. Y'all don't realize when they redrew the lines in Madison County for District 4, and they came all the way down and went all the way around to the reservoir, when they used to just be cut off at Flora and they used to have Lake Caroline, they took that out. They took that out. And they made this big hook that goes around to where it gets the hooker hotels in Ridgeland and all the hotels of the hookers, and then the hotels for the migrant apartment complexes, and then come on around Old Canton Road and then back around. I mean, and you come back up Harbor Drive. That block there, that big block there, is South Jackson waiting to explode. You know, because if you ever lose North Park Mall, that's it. And I know that recently their sales tax dollars were down. And so, you know, and they're still trying to push to get that 1% passed for them. They put it on the ballot initiative, their alderman and this, that, and the other, to try to, after y'all voted it down in November, they're trying to get it back on the ballot during the city election because they're hoping that the numbers work out, that less people show up to vote, which they will. Less will show up, but they get a majority and get their 1% in to build the Gene McGee Memorial Park, I guess you would call it. You know, I don't know what they're going to call it, but anyway, they want to build a new park, new place in Ridgeland. And look, you got two Ridgelands that are being built. You've got Old Ridgeland, which is the 51 side, and then you got New Ridgeland on Highland Colony. This is much the same as what happened in Jackson when you had Eastover, Belhaven, Eastover, and then you had the rest of Jackson. I mean, you get yourself pigeonholed, and then we, the people, that's you and I, and all the others that are not in office, don't get engaged. We don't get engaged in finding people to run for office. We don't want that job. Somebody else can have that job. And as long as you've got a Republican in the chair, you're happy because he's got an R by his name. But that Republican may not be the Republican you need. That's what's going on at the state legislature right now. You got a bunch of R's that aren't R's. You know, they're rhinos. So I guess that's an R. But you got to look at all this and start to realize that unless you, the people, get involved with politics, we are not going to have anything. Right now, it's just simple phone calls. That's all you can do because you can't get on the ballot for the city elections, but you can start finding people to run for supervisor. In Hinds County, when you run for supervisor, I want to see people on the Republican side and people on the Democratic side running for office. That's only fair. It gives you a choice. Choices are good. Choices are good. That's why even in the Republican Party, there should be a Republican primary. There should be people running against each other. And then everybody seems to dislike Roger Wicker, except for the rhinos. And Roger Wicker sitting up there and they're saying that he's going to be the key to peace. Well, I certainly hope so. But meanwhile, he wants the military-industrial complex to go all out. And, you know, he's the one that had said when Trump and J.D. Vance and all them were talking that they're over their skis. What do you mean they're over their skis? They're the boss. That's the executive branch there. They can do what they need to do. And Roger Wicker and the rest of the delegation from Mississippi, which all voted to fund USAID. And when you ask them a question, they say, I didn't know that was in there. What do you mean you didn't know it was in there? Read something. Speed read. Do something. Know what's going on. You know what's in there because there's money in that package that comes to this state. It comes to Mississippi, and you don't seem to care except for what comes. And then nobody, once it gets there, it's because it's in an NGO. Nobody knows where the money's being spent. NGOs are crooked. Oh, well. I'm Chip Matthews sitting in on the Clay Edwards Show, and we'll be back right after this.
Here to 103.9 WYAB.
Craving something extraordinary in Jackson? Manship Restaurant is where your taste buds hit the jackpot. Join us for happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. where your wallet will thank you and your stomach will sing. Indulge in half-price wood-fired pizzas. Because why pay full price for half the fun? And for just $5, dive into our private barrel bourbon picks. That's right, luxury on a budget. Plus, bring the heat with our frozen drink specials. Tropical escape without the travel expenses. Make your way to the Manship, where happy hour isn't just a time, it's an experience. Looking to boost productivity and morale in the office? Let Huey Magoo's bring a delicious stress-free lunch right to your workplace. Perfect for team meetings, client presentations, or just a midday pick-me-up. Hand-breaded and grilled tenders, sandwiches, and salads. They make it easy. Just pick your favorites, and they'll deliver everything right to your office. On time, no fuss, no hassle. Whether it's a working lunch, team celebration, or just because, let Huey Magoo's handle the meal and you handle the business. Huey Magoo's. Make someone smile today.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis from Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex is known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repair? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
For decades, you've known the name Martin's for good times, great food, and the best live music. Now that's happening at 2 locations, downtown Jackson and Livingston. Check the websites martinslivingstonms.com and martinsdowntownjxn.com for the many special events and live music lineups. You can chill with friends on the big patio at the Livingston location and enjoy the blue plate lunches and nightly drink specials. Martin's downtown and Livingston. Pop's Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality cars, trucks, and SUVs. Price to fit your budget. At Pop's Auto, we specialize in trucks. From 4-wheel drives to diesels, our satisfied repeat buyers know Pop's has one of the largest truck inventories for any independent dealer, period. Browse Pop's inventory at popsautosalesllc.com and get pre-approved for a 0 down payment with approved credit with warranties and service contracts available. Pop's Auto Sales, your home for trucks. Highway 49 South in Florence. Dr. Mike Stonington here from Stonington Farm Grass-Fed Beef. We are grass-fed and grass-finished beef. No hormones, no antibiotics, no grain, no broad spraying of herbicides or pesticides. And never, I mean never, do we use mRNA vaccines. We are 100% local and 100% Mississippi. Our calves are born in Mississippi, raised on Stonington Farm, and processed in Mississippi. Contact us at StoningtonFarm.com. That's StoningtonFarm.com with 2 N's. We are the grass-fed difference.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Back with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Mazda of Jackson's biggest sale, the best deals, an off-site sales event you do not want to miss. It's the huge Mazda of Jackson Blowout Super Sales Event at 200 Bass Pro Drive near the outlets of Mississippi. All kinds of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Over 150 vehicles will go fast. So get there today for the best selection. It's the huge Mazda of Jackson Blowout Super Sales Event going on now through Monday, March 17th at 200 Bass Pro Drive in Pearl.
Welcome to the Clay.
Breaking rules when necessary. And one of those rules is Chip Matthews is in today for Clay Edwards. on the Clay Edwards Show here on WYAB. And good morning to y'all. It's lots of fun filling in up here. And if you got something on your mind, you want to talk about it, or you want to comment on Facebook, the Facebook stream for me is what I have, and that's Chip Matthews on Facebook, Chip on X, and on YouTube. So just find the Chip Matthews page and pop it up. I'm not that tech savvy. I really need to learn more about what I'm doing. But other than that, and I don't have the text line today because Clay has his own text line separate from us. So if you need to get in touch with him, you want to talk, 601-879-0002, 601-879-0002. And I hope you're all thinking about the upcoming election. Yesterday, when I spoke with everyone else at the in Canton at Grace Church, which I thank them for putting on that event. And then there's another one for Canton mayors and people running for office on the 27th at Canton High School. That ought to be fun. And, maybe all the candidates will show up, especially the two that used to work in the school system, both got fired. They'll get to come back on campus. But anyway, it's amazing to me that we want to complain all the time and we don't get involved in politics. Now, we've got legislative stuff going down. We all should be calling our people that are at the state capitol, say, okay, so you can't fund Medicaid. You're not going to give us a tax cut because you don't know, you now got to pay $100 million back that you didn't know you had, So you don't, you're sitting there going, we are now in a turmoil in Mississippi because we don't know what we got. And then those legislatures know how much USAID money they got. And with Benny Thompson, y'all remember him? He's the guy that y'all believe should be a representative of this state and haven't done anything to censure him for what he's done to America and this state, because he's brought poverty from one end of the state to the other and make sure it stays in place so that we qualify for a bunch of USAID money. And that money comes into the state, and the Democrats and the rhinos and even probably a few Republicans that work at that state capitol, they know what money we get because Mississippi gets a lot of money, in aid. And USAID is just one little bit, and they're all worried about Medicaid. They're going to find money. And if it's a 300-year-old person, that's not hurting you. When they cut Social Security, they're only finding the fraud in getting rid of the fraud. If you are a part of the fraud, yes, you should be concerned. They're hundreds of millions of dollars. The Social Security system may never have been broke. It's just they've been stealing from it for so long that you don't know. And that's what we're doing now. Somebody is balancing the books. Anything simple like in business, you either have the money to spend or you don't have the money to spend. And what we're doing is that right now they're not cutting the budget for the state of Mississippi. They're not cutting things back. We're not trying to make a smaller government. We're not trying to cut taxes. We are trying to fund the state government retirement program by taking money from the roads and bridges, and we're going to do some shell game and move it all around, and we're going to start paying a sales tax on gas, and we're going to do this, that, and the other. They're not going to feel that. It's like they're trying to sneak it by us. They go, with Trump in office, the gas prices are going down, so for the next 4 years, they won't even feel that 3 or 4 cents a gallon. They won't feel it, or 9 cents, or whatever it is. They won't feel it, so they won't complain about it. Well, we can't complain. We can complain all we want. Y'all know that everybody in Mississippi complains about every one of you in office. You know that the people that vote for you complain about you. They don't have another choice on the ballot when it comes down to the general election because the Republicans run one candidate every time. And the same thing for the Democrats in some cases. And you don't get a choice to vote. And the incumbent in Mississippi is always going to win because the system is rigged to do so. It's like when qualifying time comes up, unless you are alert and stay on top of it, you miss the qualifying deadline. Everybody does. And then when you miss it, you got the qualifying deadline, and then you got when the election starts. So you qualify back in January, and it was over this year on the 31st, but you don't hear anybody running for office for just until a little bit later on. It's ridiculous what goes on in the election cycle and why we have candidates and why we don't have candidates. And it's like right now, we've got people that voted to fund USAID and people that said, I didn't know that was in there. Or we got people that want to go to war while the rest of the world our president is trying to stop war and they want us to go to war. You got people that want all of this stuff and he's trying to rebuild America. Now everybody's going to stock markets falling this, that. Y'all, it goes up and down. That's what it does. It isn't like you were going to make that money tomorrow. I lost on my crypto account. I lost $14,000 since Trump went in. But I promise you, within weeks or a few years, or within this year, it will make $20,000 or $30,000. Because that's how volatile the market is, because you're dealing with Republicans and you're dealing with Democrats, and they're trying to pass a House and Senate budget, and the Senate is fixing to hang us. I mean, they're not, if they pass it Friday, that'll be great. And that's just a funding bill. And the funding is based on the money that Democrats were spending when they spent everything during the Biden administration. Okay. So what should happen is we continue the budget just like it is right now. And then we'll be working on Trump's budget. You have to budget through, I guess it's August or something like that. And then September 1 is the new budget. So they'll have a new budget with a smaller, slimmer down government that won't need as much money in the future. But right now, all this big money, which is $2 trillion, I believe, above what it was in the past, is funded now. But what's going to happen is the money's going to be doged once it's put in place. And that's why they want to stop Elon, because the Doge money that they're going to find in the last quarter of the waste of the Biden budget is going to expose more fraud. Government doesn't like you to expose their fraud. Now, they will come after you if you don't pay your taxes at all. They'll fine you with big fines, this, that, and the other. But you got a lot of congressmen in there up there and senators that still haven't filed taxes for themselves, because all these elected officials who feel like they're above the law. It's like yesterday I was talking to the people of Canton, and I was explaining to them that I'm running for mayor, but mayor is basically a glorified dog catcher. Your job as the mayor is to do the wishes of the board. So if the board ain't right, the mayor ain't right. The mayor will fight back on a board and try to lead them in the right direction. But the wishes of the board, the mayor brings it to the board, or the board brings it to the mayor, and he's supposed to implement the plan. So when the streets aren't clean, the grass not cut, the board is asking the mayor, why can't you get your job done? Now, in the city of Canton, that's because most people are related, and so-and-so ain't going to worry about his cousin Bob that's supposed to be cutting the grass. And it would be Bobby. But anyway, he isn't cutting the grass. And so what would happen then is I ain't going to fire him. I ain't going to fire my cousin, because then he'll be on my pocketbook. That's the same as in the county, where you have two supervisors that have been in office 30 plus years. And they have locked down the county with all of their incompetent family members. And they're all in there. And they all work. And they all get a paycheck. And a lot of people in Canton, and it's probably happening all over the state, in this PERS package that they're trying to correct because they don't have any money in it, it's because of the fraud that occurs in PERS. Let's say, for instance, you make minimum wage for 16 years, and then for your last 4, because you're going to get paid your PERS on your high 4. And so for your last 4 years, somebody gives you a big title and a raise for your last 4 years so that your retirement will be much more than it should be. That's the way it works. It's the two-step, political two-step. They all these people do whatever they want, and they worry more about themselves. It's like right now, we're not worried about road and bridges. We're worried about taking money and reevaluating it and sending it to where we fund the PERS. Well, the PERS needs to be dodged. I'm just going to tell you, that's just what's got to happen. Okay, we're going to take a break here on the Clay Edwards Show. I am Chip Matthews filling in, and we'll be right back.
WYAB.
This is Central Mississippi's Stimulating Talk.
1039 WYAB. Pocahontas, Jackson.
Your pie and Gluckstadt is adding to the family. No, not like that. It's the new Pizza Shop sandwiches, like the Italian featuring pepperoni, ham, bacon, black olives, feta, mozzarella, red onion, and that secret ingredient, oregano. You mix in something called oregano. Oh, oregano. Some tasty chicken creations, too, like the chicken bacon ranch served with house-made jalapeno ranch. And as always, express your inner pizza, too. Your pie Gluckstadt across from Germantown High School.
Hello, this is Bruce Devini, owner of Devini Equipment. I want to thank you for utilizing our 2 Kubota dealerships located in Madison and Jackson. A big thank you goes to the residents from all over our community that chose to buy at the local level and keep their hard-earned money here at home in the great state of Mississippi. If you are in the market for a dependable Kubota tractor or piece of equipment with outstanding Kubota authorized service this new year, stop in or check us out at DeviniEquipment.com.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris at Fannin Mart on the Rez is quickly becoming Rankin County's go-to spot for pizza, burgers, pasta, appetizers, daiquiris, and more. Try their famous full of flavor pizza. You can add up to 3 different specialty pizzas onto one pie, such as the margarita, Sergeant Pepperoni, Acme Beef Buster, Pig, Pesto Chicken, the Old Mexico, the Supreme, or hey, just build your own custom pizza. Acme also has a full bar with 9 different frozen daiquiris to choose from. Open daily at 4 p.m. Acme Pizza and Daiquiris.
For over 15 years, A1 Gear and Auto has been your hometown specialist for your auto repair and maintenance needs. From brake repair to placement to radiators, engines, starters, alternators, heat, and AC water pumps. And more, A1 will get your vehicle back up and running and on the road and in a timely manner. A1 is one of the only shops in the metro that specializes in rear differentials, rear ends, and rings and pinions. Call today to set up an appointment, or if you got questions at 601-939-1060. A1 Gear and Auto, your hometown vehicle specialist.
Are you a wine enthusiast? Are you looking for the perfect bottle to